the various websites which have come in the media space in recent years. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. I hope you had a comfortable flight in, and I hope you have a comfortable stay for the rest of your time in Goa. We had, of course, several more state ministers who were with us all of yesterday and until lunchtime. But some of the ministers had some pressing engagements for which they had sought leave of absence for the second half of today. So several ministers, the Karnataka Power Minister, the Gujarat Power Minister, several of them have taken leave and left a little earlier, Chhattisgarh Power Minister, many of them. But I am delighted that some of the ministers who are here are able to join for this press interaction. And at the second half, please feel free to engage with any of them after the press conference is over. In fact, I'm also very delighted to meet with the press because, like Winston Churchill said, I always get inspiration and renewed vitality by contact with all of you. Of course, Churchill said it in the context of their engagement with the United States, and we all know how the United States and the United Kingdom look at each other. But in this context, I say it with a positive sentiment that it's always great to interact with all of you. Lovely to get positive and critical feedback from all of you and share our plans and our ambitions with friends from the media and through you with the people of India. We've had a very, very engaging, very, very fruitful and constructive two-day discussion with power ministers, power secretaries and other officials of all the three ministries of power, coal, new and renewable energy, and with the various states across the country and all the union territories. Pandey. I have with me Secretary New and Renewable Energy, Mr. Upendra Tripathi, Secretary Coal, Mr. Anil Swarup, the PIB Officer, Mr. Prashant Pathrave, Director PIB, and Additional Secretary Power, Mr. Pandey will just join us. Mr. Pandey. Secretary Power is overseas on an assignment and therefore has not been able to participate with us. The two-day discussions covered almost every important aspect of the power sector with particular emphasis on Uday. Wide-ranging across the board detailed discussions which brought clarity to many existing problems, resolved many existing problems and raised many new questions as well over the last 2 days. In fact, yesterday's session was to get over at 7:30, but I believe it extended up to about 9 o'clock. And we still had not completed the whole agenda. One of it flowed into today. So we did not let time be any constraint. The enthusiasm was palpable across the states and the central government representatives. And all of this, in some sense, leads me to believe what was once upon a time said when the Indian Constitution was being formulated. This meeting, in some sense, was a tribute to our founding fathers who fought the British and formulated our Constitution, because they had envisaged such conferences to discuss, debate, and decide on issues of national importance. And I think this 2 day session will be a path-breaking session. It's the fourth we have had since the new government came in Delhi. We have religiously had one every 6 months. We've had very good participation, very good engagement. And in some sense, the feedback I've got from several states is that this has been the most productive with far-reaching decisions being taken, some of which I'll highlight today. But the biggest message that I can give you out of this two-day interaction is something which the Greek historian Thucydides said, and I quote, he had articulated a theory that each politician pursues self-advantage while the common cause imperceptibly decays. This two-day conference has completely bunked and disproved this Greek theory. We have taken very, very strong decisions, very bold decisions in consultation with states representing all political ideologies in this country. We have taken decisions cutting across interests of individual states, individual political thinking, and come to a consensus on several contentious issues, thereby disproving this theory that politicians necessarily have to pursue their own self-interest even at the cost of national good. I believe this two-day conference has shown that the power sector has stakeholders working across the board, working for national good, a common cause, and that cause is delivering a better and brighter future to the poor of India, to the socially and economically deprived people of India, to the farmers of India, and in some sense ensuring that we leave behind a very stable and strong and extremely empowered infrastructure across the country for the future generations to enjoy uninterrupted 24/7 power for every citizen in this country, adequate power for every farmer in this country. I'll just briefly highlight some of the major decisions that we have all of us jointly resolved to take up. One very important decision that this conference has taken is to fulfill the Prime Minister's dream of completing all the unelectrified villages in this country. The Prime Minister had of course given us 1000 days on 15th August 2015, which technically ends on 1st May 2018. As I had shared with you earlier, we had thought we'll be able to complete this by 1st May 2017, 1 year ahead of schedule. I'm delighted to share with you that except for the left-wing extremism affected areas, LWE areas, all the states have taken very aggressive targets on hand and have decided we will reach 100% electricity access to the villages, 18,452 villages, save and except a few in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Orissa, where due to left-wing extremism we may take a little more time, by 31st December 2016. And I think that's a huge achievement. Individual states have to be complimented for having taken such aggressive targets on hand, and these targets have been put into the resolution by way of when the awards will be completed, how much will be done by 15th August 2016, and how they will be able to take it to all the villages in a much faster fashion. The target of 1st May has been reinforced by all of the states, most of whom have decided to complete it by 31st December 2016 itself. There are states like Arunachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, where the terrain does not permit us to work in the winter months. Some states where we can't work in the monsoon months. Over there it will spill over. But 1st May 2017 has been accepted by all the states put together. One major decision that has been taken today, and which I hope will give a lot of happiness to the people of India, is that we discussed in detail measures to provide 100% access to electricity for all the households across India by 2018. It has been resolved by all the states collectively that by 2018, and this has also been put in the resolution with timelines. For example, West Bengal, Haryana, Kerala, Goa, all of them have said by March 17 we'll have 100% electrification. Some states by December 17, Uttar Pradesh by March 2018, Bihar by March 2017 for 20 lakh households, and the balance by December 2018. Broadly by 2018, December, all of India will have households with access to electricity. Timelines have been put out. I'm not talking about the states which are already 100% electrified. So Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, some of the states, I think Delhi also, are already 100% electricity access to all the households in their state. Another major decision that has been taken is that 24/7 power for all will be ensured by all the states by March 2019. A good 3 years ahead of schedule, 3.5 years ahead of schedule. I had earlier envisaged we should be able to do it by December 2019, but I'm delighted to share with you that all the states have accepted that we will improve our infrastructure so as to be able to offer uninterrupted 24/7 power by March 2019. All the participating states under UDAY, and we had extensive discussions on the implementation of UDAY, some practical difficulties that the states were facing, almost all of which we have been able to find solutions to. Several success stories were shared by different states. The success story of Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan in being able to float their bonds, the huge effort that many states are planning to take up to attack power theft, all of these have resulted in the states resolving to ensure that the operational and financial milestones which have been decided in the MOUs executed under UDAY would be very strictly implemented by all the states. The difficulties that were raised were largely resolved. One issue I think remains to be resolved, which over the next 7 days I think we'll be able to sort out. The states and union territories have also resolved to submit feeder data to implement 11 kV feeder monitoring on the National Power Portal by July 16. This is a very, very important step because this is how we'll be able to monitor the progress of UDAY and how we'll be able to isolate the problem areas and focus our attention to improve the electricity infrastructure. 11 kV is at amongst the lowest level of power transmission. So we are going to be monitoring feeders and the efficiency of billing collection at the feeders, which will help us isolate the AT&C losses right down to the feeder level. This is really a very big and bold statement that all the states have willingly come forward to participate in. I'm also delighted to share with you that the central government has committed to support 100% requirement to take the balance 2,600 revenue towns. Rather, these are the towns, above census towns, above 10,000 population probably. All census towns. Wonderful. All census towns in the country. So we have about 1,400 towns and cities which have been taken up under the erstwhile RAP-DRP program. There were 2,600 census towns, smaller towns, which remained out of that purview. We have decided yesterday that the central government will support the extension of IT enablement to all these 2,600 balanced census towns, provided the states implement it on a mission mode and complete the work within 6 months by January 2017. And I'm delighted that almost all the states were happy to participate, because this will help them get the data to solve the problems of their people in the state. This level of IT enablement will allow the control room to know exactly how much time power is received or there are outages literally in every feeder in the country. I'm also delighted to share with you that yesterday we launched an extension of Vidyut Prava. The Vidyut Prava today gives you the national picture of electricity availability and price, state-wise. Andhra Pradesh, and I compliment the minister from Andhra Pradesh, third from this side, for the outstanding work Andhra Pradesh has done in bringing that data down to a household level. Mind you, not even the Jilla level or district level, not also only the mandal level or assembly level, down to a circle, down to a feeder, and down to a household. And they have put that data into the Vidyut Prava, so that if any consumer of Andhra Pradesh enters his consumer number, he will be able to see how many hours of power he got previous day. He will be able to see if there is any planned outage, maybe for maintenance or any other reason. The level of transparency that Vidyut Prava has gone into with the support of Andhra Pradesh is truly remarkable. And many other states already offered in the meeting yesterday. I think Karnataka was one of them. Goa also mentioned it. Many states have taken it upon themselves to do similar flow of data right up to household level in the near future. And I have urged all the states to look at expanding the Vidyut Prava so that every consumer in the country can get this data on a real-time basis. One game-changing decision which I had shared yesterday, I'm only at the cost of briefly mentioning it. Earlier, Uday had envisaged by 2017 to replace all meters of consumers above 500 units per month by smart meters, and by 19 above 200 units per month consumption meters. The price of smart meters is rapidly falling thanks to the technological innovations, the economies of scale by central procurement when we combine the requirements of all the states, and by transparent bidding mechanism that this government in any case is famous for bringing into public domain. All of these steps, as you know, helped us bring LED prices down by 83%. Similarly, smart meters under a revised technical specification which focuses on making them tamper-proof and communication enabled, so data goes straight into the computer, has helped bring down the price in the last tender to 3,223 rupees. 8,000 has come down to 3,223, which I believe would be a reduction of nearly 60%. We hope to see this falling further. Many of my journalist friends who are sitting here know that my target on smart meter pricing is 999, 3 digits. So I'm very hopeful that with this success so far, over the next few months and years, we'll be able to achieve our target of 999. So what the states and UTs have decided and resolved is that henceforth, we will endeavor to only use smart meters, even where we give a new connection. So while we'll replace 500 and then 200 consumers, we'll also use smart meters for all new connections, and at the next level possibly try to replace every consumer so that 25 crore consumers in this country will have smart meters in their home, office, shop, industry, farm, wherever they are consuming electricity. This is truly a game-changing decision for which I would like to compliment all the state governments and the leadership shown by all the state governments. One other decision has been taken that the number 1912 will be a common complaint number across India. Many states are already logged on to that. A few states are left who have promised to go back and quickly come onto it. We have also requested them to try and make it toll-free so that consumers can give their complaints. All complaints will be recorded, will also be monitored through a website, and the action taken will also be given out on the website. So consumers will have the ability and the confidence that their complaints are promptly attended to and grievances are sorted out at the fastest possible and most efficient manner. We have had very good discussions on hydro energy. As I mentioned to you earlier, hydro and wind are two areas we are focusing on. We are looking at coming out with a comprehensive hydropower policy to help encourage this sector once again revive. We are looking at some of the stalled projects being once again revived with the cooperation of participating states. We are looking at a mechanism to bring back to life hundreds of stalled small hydro projects, less than 25 megawatt. And I'm sure with the collective effort of the central government and the states, we'll be able to bring a renewed thrust to the hydropower sector. We've also had very good discussions on how hydro can in the long run also work as a peaking reserve, a spinning reserve for the great thrust we are giving to renewables. A committee headed by Honorable Mr. Manish Gupta from West Bengal has been constituted with interdepartmental and some states representation, which will examine the issue of spinning reserves and peaking reserves, including pump storage, including gas, including other hydro projects, in a very comprehensive manner, in consultation with all the states and stakeholders. This committee has been requested to give its first report in 3 months' time by 30th September. We have also had a lot of engagement on the transmission side. Nearly 1.5 lakh crore worth of transmission projects are envisaged to be undertaken at the state level for intrastate transmission ability. Many of these projects, different states have already started. We have encouraged states to look at taking up packages of these projects under the tariff-based competitive bidding mechanism to expedite implementation, reduce the investment requirement of the states, as well as to reduce the pricing. Because I do believe a competitive process always determines better pricing than a cost-plus process. One of the most interesting sessions we had today was on power demand. We all recognize that today India has become surplus in power and surplus in coal. Renewable energy is being given a major thrust. Stalled projects across the country are being revived and commissioned. UMPPs are shortly going to be put up, offered for bidding. All of this encourages us to look at how we can give a thrust to consumption of electricity. Many states already have surplus electricity contracts. Many projects are coming up rapidly. We have had very fruitful discussions on what can be done to replace diesel-based equipment, be it agricultural pumps, be it diesel-based generators used in industry, diesel and petrol inverters used by household and shops, diesel locomotives or diesel lines in the railways, several, and also schemes to promote industrialization under the Make in India program, where low-cost power can be an enabler to attract investment and manufacturing into India. We had very extensive and very, very engrossing discussions to give a push to power demand. Several coal-related issues have been discussed with the states, and were welcomed by all the states, if I may venture to suggest, in terms of their game-changing ability to bring down the cost of power, bring down the pollution level, and make the entire thermal power generating sector more efficient and be able to serve the people better with continuous power supply. The flexibility in utilization of domestic coal has been very widely welcomed. It will help the states who transport coal long distances to bring down their cost. And we have also discussed how to reduce the import of coal and what measures the coal ministry needs to take to support states which still continue to import coal. On energy conservation, we had a dedicated session where the success of the LED program being taken to the next level through energy efficient fans, through energy efficient agricultural pumps. All of these were discussed in great detail. We saw a live demo. Can you get somebody from ESL to come and give that demo? We'll put that demo up and show it. We'll give you a small demo which was shown to all the participants in the conference. It was truly remarkable about what possibilities are there in the agricultural pumps. And we have, all the states have agreed to work with the center to create a regulatory mechanism for mandating the use of star-labeled equipment in the days and years to come. On the wind energy side, a lot of discussions took place of what needs to be done to support wind energy in terms of demand, or rather generation forecasting being made more scientific and accurate, in terms of creating a better grid infrastructure to support transmission of wind power, which of course the Manish Gupta committee will look at in greater detail, to look at how we can gradually move wind to a competitive reverse auction or tariff-based bidding process to make it more competitive, and also to resolve the issue of squatters who are sitting on wind sites for several years but not developing their projects. So all of these issues have been discussed in very great detail. I'm sorry there were so many things that I've still cut off many of the other decisions, but I'd like to conclude with two comments. All of us in the room are trying to use the Eisenhower theory, that is, tough problems are solved by enlarging their boundaries. Power, as we all know, was an extremely tough problem. Most people had given up that there will be a resolution to the deep malaise that had set into this sector. But I'm delighted that with the combined effort of all the stakeholders, this tough problem has now become so simple that we can actually have a two-day meeting coming out with so many game-changing decisions, making it sound as if 24/7 power is a very simple job. I know that I will get a lot of media reports which will point out that, I had said by May 2017, all the villages will be electrified, but there is that one village in the mountains of Uttarakhand or in the forests of Jharkhand which has still not got electricity. But this team does not get deterred by these small aberrations. We are willing to take it on our chin, but work to very aggressive goals, because all of us believe that what you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. Pericles, the famous general who had constructed Acropolis in Athens, had said this, but in some sense, this team in the power sector across India, with the support and blessings of the 125 crore Indians in Team India, is committed to creating a monument that for generations will continue to serve the people of India in terms of a vibrant, very, very cost efficient, sustainable, 24/7 power for all infrastructure, which will outlive your and my lives in service to the people of India. Thank you very much. Sure.
Sir, have you warned those states whose funding of the states for indulging in irregularity in procurement of material for your flagship program? If they get in
See, the difference between your question and my answer is that first of all, we don't warn anybody. We work in the spirit of cooperation.
some reports I saw.
Well, don't believe all the reports you write or anybody else writes. But the fact of the matter is, there are sometimes certain differences of opinion or way of looking at things, which when we sit across the table, we are always finding that it's very easy to resolve. So there were certain apprehensions which you have rightly pointed out. Those apprehensions were discussed also in the public forum and were resolved, and I believe almost all the states said they would like to participate because economies of scale, better quality equipment and transparent pricing, what better does anybody want? I think I spoke so much that there are no questions, so we can...
What were the issues raised by the states for Uday and what were the solutions?
Well, issues come up across the board. In fact, I have something which speaks about that also. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan had said, when we think we know, we cease to learn. So in a way, this is a learning. Issues come up, we resolve them. Now, I don't want to give you a headline and divert from the bigger achievements that we've done today.
Sir, another question. As you rightly pointed out, so many things over 2 days. But just in nutshell, if you have to say, what is the takeaway from these 2 days?
The takeaway is that every person in that room worked in the spirit of service to the poor of India, to the farmers of India. Every person in that room worked in a spirit of cooperation and collaboration. And this demonstrates the strength of democracy in India, that irrespective of political ideology, all of us in India can work as one in the service of the people of India.
So you will in a way call it a new chapter in the federalism structure of functioning between states and centre.
Well, yes, it's a chapter which Prime Minister Modi had tried to initiate on 26th of May 2014, right from the day he got sworn in. It's a chapter he reinforced on 15th August 2014 when he first articulated the concept of Team India and said that if 125 crore Indians take one step forward, India will move 125 crore steps forward. I think all of us in this room have demonstrated that that is possible in India. Yeah? He has a question after that. Bol.
Sir, what tune of bonds have already been issued under the Uday scheme and
What?
what tune of bonds, like quantum of bonds have already
Well, last year it was 1 lakh crores of Uday bonds and 12,000 crore of Discom bonds.
Yes, sir.
Get the latest figure. This year we have already issued some 40,000 crore of Uday bonds. I'll just give you the figure in a minute. 26,000 crores of Uday bonds and some part of the Discom bonds. Overall, we had estimated that this year we'll have about 1,50,000 crores of Uday bonds and we'll space it out through the year.
During the interactions, how many states have agreed for the routine tariff revisions that were proposed?
That's not a subject for me to discuss or indulge in. My own view about this is so well known. In my view, there is no need for tariff revisions. What we need to revise is our mind's thinking first. And to my mind, if we reduce the losses in our states, we work in a more efficient manner, if we don't indulge in irregularities in procurement, there is no need for tariff revisions. Tariffs can be maintained. There may be nominal increases in tariff for fuel surcharges or some of that. But otherwise, as I said, we can save 1,80,000 crores per year by 2019 every year, and till that time it will gradually keep adding up. Every year we can save 1,80,000 crore, against which the losses are only 65,000 crores in the sector. So actually we can start getting a return on equity for the states as well as start reducing tariffs in the long run. And I have made it very clear on more occasions than one. I personally do not subscribe to the theory that some economists often articulate, that the poor of India and the farmers of India should be made to pay higher prices. To my mind, they deserve to get power cheaper. To my mind, the farmers who are responsible for our food security are already facing severe stress, and it is the duty of all Indians to support the farming activities.
What
Yeah.
is the output of this 2 days session?
What is the output of?
What is the output of
My God, मेरा गला वैसे ही खत्म हो गया है. We'll release a resolution copy in public domain. It will give you enough to write.
You spoke yesterday extensively about power thefts. Has the state come out with any concrete just towards power theft?
Well, I know about some states. Rajasthan, for example, the Honorable Chief Minister collected all the MLAs from across the state and had a great interaction with them to encourage them to focus on power theft. We put out some suggestions. One of the suggestions that came out was if the states could have a campaign in their own domains talking about Urjagiri, just like Gandhigiri in Munnabai. There's a proposal that we could have Urjagiri campaigns in the states wherever there is the problem of power theft and encourage people to become whistleblowers, maybe go into 1912 and complain about people who are doing theft. Because if one person or two people indulge in power theft, the other 98, 99 people have to pay for it. And we have also broadly analyzed that across India it is not the poor who do power theft. It is more cases than not. It is the large consumers who are responsible for power theft.
Another question is 12 states by now have signed UDAR. When are the other states going to do it? Any time frame or something like that?
Yeah, of course. As I had mentioned earlier, there are about 12 states and union territories which have do not have discoms, but electricity boards like the old days, including Goa. So for them, there really is no immediate solution. Therefore, we are going back to cabinet to see if we can also involve them. Goa, we have already included for the operational parameters. Financial, all their debt is already in the state's budget. So operational parameters we have allowed and we have executed yesterday Goa's agreement. Then there are 4 or 5 states which had elections going on. I've had discussions with the secretaries and ministers of some of them who are present here, secretaries of all the states, ministers of the states who are present here. By and large, they are all on board. There are few issues where they are going to discuss with the secretaries and come to a final agreement. Some of the other states, the agreements are already under preparation and finalization. For example, my own state, Maharashtra. I mean, all states are mine, but I get elected from Maharashtra and I've been born in Maharashtra. Maharashtra had agreed to join UDAY only for the operational parameter because they are not making losses. Then they realized that they are making a mistake. After cabinet approval, they withdrew it and they said, no, we want to benefit from financial parameters also. So therefore, it's being revised and rewritten. So these things take a little time.
For better understanding of the concept, is it not advisable for these states which you say that they don't have a corporate structure to go in for a corporate structure as a part of reform? That will not be more helpful.
Well, I think it depends on each state and their internal situation. If it's a very small infrastructure or very small state, it may sometimes be counterproductive to form a discom because you will land up creating a whole new architecture and infrastructure outside the ministry. It will duplicate the administrative setup and add to the cost of power to the people. So to my mind, there is never a one-size-fits-all formula. We have to calibrate it to each state's requirement. To my mind, reform does not mean privatization or corporatization only. It can be one element, but will depend on the situation in each state. Thank you. Power? Demand for. आप बोलेंगे क्या? You were there extensively in that.
See, as you are all aware, that we are now in a very unusual situation of having so much coal that there aren't so many takers.
Fine.
Quite different from what it was about a year and a half ago.
Renewables का भी सब है.
Same is the case with regard to availability of power. Hence, we discussed at length as to how do we increase demand. Now, this could happen in a number of ways, but I'll tell you a couple of major aspects that we discussed. One was that we are all aware that a lot of diesel generating sets are being used, as the Honorable Minister pointed out, both at home, in industry, in various places. The idea now is to see, can we map the use of this diesel, and can we come up with a clear strategy of replacing diesel by electricity? This will save environment, this will save foreign exchange, and obviously it is much more efficient that power flows through thermal or solar power stations rather than diesel generating sites. So this was one such strategy. The second is, through the instrumentality of Uday, the DISCOMs will become financially strong to demand more power. We are all aware that per capita consumption of power in this country is similar to what existed in the US in the late 19th and early 20th century. So there is indeed nascent demand, but the intermediation happens through these DISCOMs. And because of the poor financial conditions of the DISCOMs, despite a nascent demand, they are unable to spend money to buy that. So Uday is going to play a very important role in terms of creating demand. I can go on, but these were the factors that were discussed on how we can increase demand.
Minister, sir, just last question. From me. We have here Andhra Pradesh, as you said, with that app, and their losses, energy losses have been considerably down. And we hear from some colleagues here that UP is like state where steel power is a big problem they are facing. So have more states shown willingness to copy that kind of...
Yes, I mentioned that more states are showing willingness, and we'll encourage more and more states to come with that kind of data. But I do hope the Hindu will report as extensively as I have answered all your questions. I think 2-3 of you have jointly got one question after all the extensive consultations that went on in the back row. पूछिए जरा. पूछो.
My question is for Emirati. Emirati is looking for the small micro grid policy. So how states will act on, and what is the benefit for the individuals?
Well, it is. We are in a process of consultation. We are putting in the web page. We are seeking comments from various stakeholders. After the comments come, we will collate it and have a workshop, a national workshop where further comments can be incorporated. It will popularize mini grids, which we have a program now. Within 1,000 days, wherever required, it will be put. So, in a sense, more money, the capital. We are trying to get corporate investment into this sector. After the latest tariff policy to protecting the mini grids and micro grids, we are trying to get private investment into this sector. That is one of the more focus areas. And more states will also adopt these policies. It is a model policy that is going to come, and some states have done it already. So the idea is to get private investment into this sector so that it has a commercial role to play. Thank you.
Chalo, thank you. Very kind of you all to join us. Chalo, session late हो रहा है.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.